What's happening, guys? In today's video I've got Mexico in the creator series. I know it's been quite a while since I've done a video around this series, but yeah, I've been live streaming each and every single one of them. So if you do want to catch me live for these races, make sure to come to the channel on Saturdays at roughly around 6 to 7 p.m. depending on whether or not there's a Formula 1 qualifying going on that day. So yeah, you can see the title of this video. We lose the strategy game. I've got featuring Alex Gillen and Tiametmarduk because they had some pretty incredible strategies in this race. So yeah, we'll get to see exactly what they end up doing and what I end up doing as well. I'll talk you through my mistakes and what I should have done and their benefits as well. So yeah, on our outlap now, this is our second lap. We did do the Inters Championship. For those who don't know, in the Creator Series, we do something where on the first lap, we do Inters run. And whoever gets the quickest lap just basically gets bragging rights at this point. So yeah, we didn't win at Mexico, but we did win at Bahrain. Anyways, now moving on to our first actual lap in qualifying. This is Q1, so the pace is going to be a little bit slower than usual. I did want to go into this with no practice because I'm the type of person, for some reason, I usually do better in league races when I don't practice versus when I do. But I ended up getting bored one day and everyone was, well, not everyone, but a few of the guys was in a session. So I thought I'd hop in and do some practice. I knew the pace was there based on that practice. I think we did a 15-1 in qualifying, and then we did a 15-0 in like GP mode. So 51 online and 15-0 there. So I knew the pace was there. I just needed to try and extract that in the actual qualifying session. So first run on the soft compound tires with 3.3 seconds up on our Inters run. We crossed the line to do a 16.2. Very interesting. I was quite confused there because that's way slower than what we were doing in practice. So I don't know if maybe it was the track, or I don't know. I just didn't carry the same confidence that I did in practice. But yeah, it's a lot slower than what we did in practice. As you can see, Van Gaffen, which is Ruta, he did a 59 on his first softs, and then we've got I think Jake was behind us as well, not too far from that. And then in Q2, you can see we were on our lap in sector 2 during the S section, and Tiametmarduk and Dirk Chocolate distracted us in different ways. Ben just didn't get out of the way in time, and then Dirk had spun right in the middle of the track. We managed to avoid him, and we ended up losing quite a lot of time from that, and we ended up being a tenth behind GB at the time. But we ended up improving our lap times, and we made it into Q3. You can see now we're 0.6 of a second up on our time right now. This is still in Q2, but this was our final run in Q2. 7 tenths now as we cross the line to do a 15.7 again. Just not as quick as I was in practice. In Q2 in practice, we were doing 15.5, 15.4s. So yeah, still good couple of tenths. So I need to really try and push as much as I can in Q3 here. So here's our first lap in Q3. This is actually on scrubbed tires. So we open up DRS, just bombing it down to turn 1. It's a very, very long wait until turn 1. So it does give you quite a lot of time to mentally prepare yourself for the first braking zone, using all the track, braking just before the 100-meter board down into 4th gear, and then just you know, hugging that apex. Turn 2, you want to ride over that apex, and then turn 3, you don't want to ride over the apex as much because it can unsettle the car on the exit. And then you just bomb it down to turn 4. As we cross the line for sector 1, we go purple, braking just before the 100-meter ball for turn 4. And then the S section, well, not the S section, but sector 2 is pretty tight, pretty narrow. A lot of downforce needed for this section of the track, especially the S section, which we're about to get into right now. So just trying to carry as much speed as you can, really braking as late as you can, and then just throwing the car in. You want to be almost full throttle in qualifying. The S section is almost flat, but it's not quite flat. If you take it flat, you will lose the rear end at some point in the S section, but we take it all right, and I believe we go green for the second sector. So yeah, not as quick as we can be. I do believe it's Ruta ahead of us, who is also on a pretty decent lap himself, but then he messes up like the final couple of corners and loses quite a bunch of time. You can see he does a 16.3, and then we cross the line and do a 16.0 on scuffed tires. So you know, that's pretty decent for a first run in Q3 on scuffed tires, you know, to almost be in the 15s. That's pretty good. So I thought, okay, well, maybe we can carry that momentum to the fresh run that we do later on in the session. But for some reason, we just don't really gain as much time on the fresh tires as I thought. I mean, you're supposed to gain usually quite a lot of time, because usually I'll do like a 16-1 or a 16-0 on the first run, and then I would go on to do like a 15-1 and gain like a second on the fresh tires. We just didn't do that here. We were really slow on this lap, and then we make a mistake here as well, which did lose us quite a little bit of time, as you saw from the Delta. But Van Geffen, aka Ruta, he does cross the line to do a 15-6, 5, 7. We're gonna cross the line now to do a 15-6, 2, 2, and we managed just about to get pole position. Pole ended up being a lot slower than predicted, but we still managed to get it anyways. And you may have noticed my name is Grippy1. That's just a joke between everyone in the creator series. A lot of people say that I look like Heady1. They've been saying it for years, to be honest. We grew up in the same area, and ever since we were kids, I've always been compared to him. And then obviously people joked around that I had grip hack, so I thought I'd name myself Grippy1 just for the fun of it. We do a 360 to start off this race, but obviously my 360 skills, they need a little bit of touching up. I've not really been able to do a proper 360 and get into my pit stop box, or my grid stop box, I should say. But anyways, enough waffling from that. We've got 5 red lights for the Mexican GP in the creator series, and lights out, and away we go. Hoping to get a good start here. This is a medium soft strategy that I'm on personally, and you'll see how that sort of plays out throughout the race. Getting a pretty decent start, moving over to the right hand side on the start just to try and defend from Ruta behind us, just in case he tries to go for any sense. He doesn't, so we brake at the normal spot using all the track that we can. We do go a little bit deep into the corner, which does give Ruta a little bit of an opportunity to try and overtake us, but we still managed to defend it and push forward. I wanted to be in clean air at this point because we really needed it, to be honest. I didn't do any race practice. I just did the qualifying practice, and so yeah, I didn't really know how the car was going to feel throughout the race. But either way, we decided to just push on, try and get as much of a gap as we can over the course of the first 3 laps, so that we can try and get out DRS to Ruta. And we're doing a decentish job to that, actually. We're already 7 tenths away from him, and then Mr. Dale, who qualified pretty high up after he got some coaching, is not that far back either. So yeah, it's pretty tight through the first lap. But as time goes on, we start to show our pace a little bit here. We're on lap 3 now, and we are 1.1 seconds ahead of Ruta. So yeah, the pace is showing at this stage of the race. The tires feel pretty good. They're starting to fire up now, and I'm starting to get into my groove. However, as the first stint goes on, we just end up losing quite a lot of time. And to be honest with you guys, I can't actually figure out where. You'll see that as time goes on, Ruta does tend to close the gap back, but I don't know, we were just losing so much time, and we just lost confidence in ourselves, I guess. But we got a VSC. There was a crash happening in Sector 2 during the S section, I believe. But we did get a very good start off the VSC. We actually gained over half a second on Ruta during that VSC, so a perfect VSC start from us. But as I said before, he just ends up gaining time throughout the first stint, and I just don't really know where I lost it. Maybe he just had a better setup for the race than I did, probably. You see now we're on lap 10, and he's got 1.2 to us now, so he's gained half a second in about roughly 6 laps or so, and it just ends up dropping down pretty rapidly over the next couple of laps at this point as well. So yeah, at this point, I thought, okay, as long as we can just wait until he overtakes us and then potentially just follow him, try to save some ERS, because we didn't really have a lot at this point in the race. You can see that El Taco Man is in front of us. He's about to get lapped due to an incident that happened. But I want you guys to keep an eye on him throughout the race as well, because he has a pretty amazing comeback of his own. As I said, he gets a lap, but you'll see where he finishes at the end of the race. But moving on to lap 19 now. This is when Ruta finally makes the overtake on me. When he finally got into my DRS, I was doing just enough. Either that or he was just saving his own ERS, really. So he didn't really overtake us until lap 19. And that's when he started pushing. Wanted to stay as close as I could without being directly behind him due to the dirty air. I wanted to make sure that we were still pulling some decent lap times here, because me and him, we had made quite a lot of time up on the guys ahead. You can see Safso is roughly about 4 seconds behind us now, so I didn't really want that gap to close down at any point. So that's why I was sort of just following him, but not trying to battle with Ruta at this stage of the race. You know, Mexico is a pretty long race. It's 71 laps, so there's a lot of time that can be gained if you're gaining just small tenths per second each lap. So lap 21 now, we're roughly just about in the DRS zone. Lap 25, we actually go for an overtake here. I broke him a little bit too early here, so the overtake wasn't exactly super smooth. Ruta, I don't think he was really happy about that one, just because it did lose us a little bit of time. But I make the move here. It was a lot more of a smooth process than turn one. And then I decide, okay, it's time for me to do a little bit of pushing at the front. We didn't actually save as much ERS as I'd hoped we would. Again, I think that's just Ruta's setup being better than ours, because he just had better ERS usage than we did at this point in the race. But moving on to lap 27 now. Dale has the funniest DNF as per usual, so I'll show you guys that right now.
Genuinely, whoever the back marker Alpha is, please Alfa Romeo, move!
One stop. Both go long. Your wish was granted. Oh,
wow,
God.
whoever that fucking Alfa Romeo is, you're genuinely...
Please.
Don't think we're going long, Ruta.
Don't think we're going long.
So yeah, that incident between Dale and Carbon ended up giving us safety car. And at this safety car, which was the first one, I think we definitely did the right thing looking back on it, which is not pitting. We stayed out on the mediums that we were on. Me and Ruta actually wanted to go a little bit long, potentially do a one stop if we could, if the safety car really allowed for it. And then, yeah, just try and run away with the race. We thought that both of us had the pace to really do that. So yeah, that's what we tried to do on the first safety car. There were more safety cars, so I will show what happens throughout the race with those. But looking at the safety car restart now, yeah, pretty decent start from us, pretty decent start from Ruta as well. And then we have Sasso, Ale and Ben behind us. Alex Gillen, he's already made his way up the field as well, I do believe. I'm not sure if he's towards the midfield or if he's just behind Ben at this point, but yeah, he didn't do qualifying. He actually came home late and was late for the start of qualifying. So yeah, he started from last and he's already made his way back up the field. And also I do believe that he had accidentally chose a time trial setup as well, not an actual online race setup. So yeah, surprised that he wasn't struggling a lot more than he was, as Jake retires from the race on lap 31. I think he got taken out from somebody. And then we move on to lap 33 now. Don't actually know what caused this safety car to come out, but one does come out. And right here, this, in my opinion, is where we lost the race. I should have pitted right then and there for another set of mediums. Well, actually, no. I should have pitted for the hard set of tires. That would have been the best option, looking back on it, because what that would have allowed me to do is then pit for the mediums towards the end of the race. And we did have a fresh set of medium tires that we could have used alongside the ones that we started on. So yeah, I definitely should have pitted on that lap, and I should have pit for the hard tires there. If we had done that, even though we would have been slower on the safety car restart, I generally do think that we would have ended up winning this race. Now, I have spoiled you guys a little bit here. We don't end up winning this race, but I will show you what happens and where we do finish and where everyone else around us finishes as well. This safety car, again, pretty short, but at the same time, it felt pretty long. I was just raring to go. I just wanted to get back into the racing. And this safety car restart was, I didn't time it right. I thought Ruta was going to go right here, but he doesn't. He ends up going now, and Sasso got a much better reaction than what we got. We just went a slight bit too early, and now he's already passed us. I'm trying to use the ERS, trying to get into the slipstream of Ruta ahead, just so that I can try and get into turn one before him. But as you can see here, going into turn one, I just brake a little bit early because I knew that one of us was probably going to crash if I didn't, and I didn't really want to ruin my race here just for a position. So we defend the position against Tiametmarduk, but we do end up letting Sasso and Ale past us, which wasn't very good, to be honest, especially since we were on 37 lap old mediums as well. I do believe that Ben started on the sauce, and here comes another safety car later on that lap as well. And I believe that Ben and Alex pit on this lap for their final pit stop onto a new fresh set of mediums. Now if I had pitted for the hard tires, I would have been able to pit right now as well for my second mediums, but I was already on my second mediums right now. And this puts us at a huge disadvantage here because Alex is behind us on his last set of mediums, and yes, they're going to be slow towards the end of the race. However, a lot of people can keep up with their consistent lap times even on worn tires, so it's going to be a tall task really to try and catch up to Alex once we've pit, because we're already now technically a pit stop behind Alex Gillen. As we go through the first couple of corners now, Ale ends up having a little bit of slide that pushes Sasso off the track, and that allows us to get past him. And now we're trying to get past Ale here, breaking at the 100 meter board. He breaks a little bit later, and ends up defending the position from there. And as you can see, a lap later, we end up with 6 seconds of penalties. I think that a lot of the penalties that we got in this race were pretty harsh, to be honest. Even chat was saying, yeah, these penalties, these warnings were pretty harsh. However, when it comes to the Creator Series, we don't actually do any stewarding here, mainly because this is just a fun league between friends, and mainly for your guys' entertainment as well. So usually when it comes to penalties, even if they're harsh, we don't usually try and get those removed. We just take it on the chin and try and see how we can maximize the situation. So yeah, we got 6 seconds now. Ale has 3 seconds, probably got it in a similar fashion to how we did. And Alex Gillen is still behind us, only 5/10 of a second as well. And bearing in mind, he started from last, but he just had such a better strategy than us. However, we also have a battle for the lead right now happening. Ale defending a position from Ruta just letting him go through. And now Ale is leading this Grand Prix. Ruta again, probably just saving a little bit of ERS so he could do some pushing afterwards. We managed to get past the both of them eventually. And then Alex Gillen, who has a 3-second time penalty himself now, gets past us. And now Alex is officially a pit stop ahead of us right now. So it's going to take a lot of work to really catch up to him once we pit. And honestly, at this point, I should have pitted right now. The softs will have made it to the end just because the car is a lot lighter at this point. But stubborn me wanted to stick with the strategy that I had. And yeah, we passed Alex again on the lap, on lap 55, I should say. He doesn't really have much ERS left to play with, nor do we though. So yeah, at this point, it's time to get into the pits and really try and catch up to these guys on the softs. You can see that Ben Tiametmarduk, he is now 2.7 seconds behind us, so he's not really that far behind us. So that means we're gonna have to try and catch up like 15 to 20 seconds between the both of them, which isn't good. I mean, we do have a set of fresh sauce, however, that's not really gonna mean much if the two guys ahead are doing pretty well with their consistency. And right now the mediums are pretty much in their prime from when they pit, so their lap time should be really quick. And the only thing that really happens moving forward is we pass Razin, we pass Hayden on track, and then I think the rest of the guys that we do end up passing are guys who end up going into the pits to pit for the soft tires, just like how we did on lap 55. And at this point, it's really just a push to try and catch up to Alex and to Ben up ahead. As you can see, we're going purple in the first sector. We've got El Taco Man ahead of us as well. But as we move on to lap 62, we're catching up, but we're not really catching up by that much. There's only 9 laps left in the race, and we're 12 seconds behind Ben, who also now has a 3-second time penalty. So it's a battle for the win between those two on the mediums. If for some reason the tires die out towards the end, then maybe we can catch up and potentially gap Ben maybe 3 seconds, but definitely not Alex. Alex pretty much at this point is almost guaranteed to win unless Ben can do something of his own as he's battling with him. But yeah, we're just not gaining that much. And then on lap 71 now, the final lap of the race, you can see we did catch up a little bit more. We're 6 seconds behind the both of them. But yeah, all the pushing in the world really couldn't do anything for us at this point. You can see Ruta is behind us, 5 seconds behind us. So that means he is going to take our position as we have 6 seconds of time penalty. However, going into the final corner, you can see there's a yellow flag there as well. And that's because Ben has actually spun at the final corner. I think him and Alex had maybe a little bit of contact, or Ben just spun on his own. And I thought maybe I could get the podium from him spinning. So we cross the line, we wait to see. And Ben overtakes us by 3/10 of a second. And because Ruta didn't have a penalty, it means he overtook the both of us into P2. And yeah, we lost out on the podium. Can't believe it. We had the race in our hands there, but we just let it fall away from us due to strategy. Big up to Alex and to Ben as well for their master strategy compared to everyone else. And yeah, man, this is what the Creator Series is all about. Just a bunch of friends, bunch of different creators racing together, seeing who has the best mind in the race, who has the most pace, and who can win the championship. Right now, Alex is the only one in the Creator Series to have won more than one race, I believe. And he's won 3, so Alex has a lot of momentum going into the next couple of races. I do believe he actually did a last to first in this as well, so yeah, massive congratulations to him. But I hope you guys enjoyed this video. Make sure to smash the like button if you're still watching at this point, and I'll see you guys in my next video.